Before we begin, I'd like to thank the kind commenter on the now enlisted version of this video for pointing out flaws and offering suggestions as to how to improve this content. Thanks to the kind Genshin community members that were able to see so much entertaining, high quality content. With that sappy attitude out of the way, here it starts. Possible spoilers for future gods, character stories, and visions. Are they tools? Or weapons given by the gods to mortals seemingly at random? But then why are some able to gain the gods' interest while others are left to live normal lives and not even meet their servants like the Adepta? How are the visions given? What are the requirements to earn a vision? And is the choice of one god or many that influence the element? These are the questions that will be asked on USLY. So first, let's define what a vision is. Visions are defined as the stones inside the frame and supposedly can just appear in that form, either pre-wrapped or awakened from a dud. Organ's narration, quote, "The moment she made that decision, a vision appeared at her hip, granting her power to resonate with the world to a degree beyond her natural abilities," end quote. So until we hear a story of someone born in one country getting a stone of another, I believe that with just enough power injected by one element-related god, the vision can manifest or awaken only with the blessing of the home god. This leads me to believe that whatever form it appears in is up to the reigning god's whim. The casing can be removed, and its default design is standardized or perhaps required to declare loyalty to the reigning god, in order to draw its power along with the rule that it has to be visible. There are no limits to a vision's power as long as it corresponds to the god's element. Regarding the powers and how they manifested, this will be related to the next point. I believe that the process of vision is actually two parts, the first being the power and the second is the object itself. I'll explain how Ball's ban is having an effect outside her country. Getting into the first part, the power. Visions are given to the chosen based on respective god's personality trait and their compatibility with the user's greatest personality trait or passion. Getting into each element, while also adding that I will discuss contradiction and wildcards at the end. Pyro. It's a passion, drive, desire, dream, want, with those that act as they please to achieve it. Diluc is ending the threat of the abyss, Klee is her explosive tendencies, Xinyan's her love for rock, Xiangling's for cooking, Amber is to gliding and restoring the outrider order, Ben is to adventuring, and then there's a wildcard here in the form of Hoot. Hydro is all about ideals. Xingqiu seeks to become the ideal scholar and master of the Guhuas. Barba has become a person and equal like her sibling to protect and help others. Mona has become an ideal master of the magics and truth of the universe. Geo. One must be absolutely rock steady and determined in whatever ambition they seek, such as Albedo's in his research, Noel's and being able to protect and help everyone to become a full knight, and Niguan is to earn money, power, and influence. Cryovision. One earns a cryovision by having a contradiction. Chi-Chi's wanting to live and being given a vision while dying. Chong and his spiritual positively negatively influencing his main trait as an exorcist by driving away the spirits. Dawn's amazing bartending despite her hate for alcohol, which hogs her father from spending time with her. And Rosaria's outward cold hostile attitude compared to the purpose of her actions, which is to protect Mondstadt and its citizens. And then Kaya is protecting Mondstadt despite being a spy sent by Kainria. The main aspect of gaining Electrovision is uniqueness, or being the black sheep. Fischl with her Chuni and Fantasia mind, Catching with her denial of the divine, which stands out amongst her peers in Liyue, which maintains a close relationship with her god, and the citizens, who have an active and utmost belief in the divine. Lisa is her excellence in her field and being a prodigy among her peers in Sumeru, and Razor for being a human raised amongst animals and willing to stay with them to become family. Beidou is to be able to kill a giant sea serpent with her bare hand, and the captain of a pirate ship while having connection with high-ranking Liyue government members. Animo is one that gave me more trouble due to the fact that the prominent trait didn't seem to line up with Venti's ideology. I had to look more into his actions and deep into character backstories. However, the prominent trait is unchanging normal. Jean seeks to protect Mondstadt, which means keeping the priest and letting everyone continue on their daily routine. Xiao mirrors Jean in protecting the normal of Liyue. Sucrose wants to make her hypostasis to reunite her friends and bring back the normal of the friend group being together again. As shown in their character story, Sucrose and her two best friends believe that if only they could reach this magical place, they would surely live happily ever after. But time went by, and one of her friends left on a long journey with her adventurer parents, never to return. The other suffered a domestic tragedy. Her father fell ill and passed away, her whole personality changed, and she broke off her friendship with Sucrose. The promise that they once had to reunite someday in the future no longer meant anything. Sucrose felt lonelier than ever she had felt in her entire life. They hadn't even set eyes on paradise yet, and already her friends were gone. Well, even if they were destined to never meet again, Sucrose was desperate to honor their past friendship in some way. That was when she discovered the existence of alchemy from a book that she was reading. Sucrose realized, though she had never chanced to find the entrance to that wonderful place, she now had the opportunity to be the creator of her own paradise. Thus began her study about alchemy, and she poured all of her curiosity and passion into it. Still, she has never once mentioned the story of paradise and their bygone friendships to anyone else. Perhaps one day, when the place she first learned of in the children's storybook finally becomes a reality in the real world, her friends will return. End quote. For a Denjo vision, due to there not being a god or playable character introduced to the public, and with only one character that we know of having this vision, means there's very little information on this element. I'm going to predict, and however, by taking a shot in the dark and saying it's the strong aspect of nurture, such as Baizu's willingness to take in animals and Chi-Chi's, whatever their various reasons he may have for doing so. The process I see is that the god of that element is able to omnipotently detect when individuals display that trait as the strongest aspect, and will decide to gift or magically inject that power into the person, and so get into contact with the god of that country. The gods then combine, so the home god either picks a nearby stone to tether to the prospector's catalyst, or gives it to them, and then the other god injects the power. However, if it's the same god in personality and the home country, then they do both. It can be a personal or distant process, like the gods communicating with each other, or power is mentally dropped off with a name or photo, like a mail package, that the home god must do. Either the two gods know who gets them, or only the home god knows, and will never share. Whether this to maintain the homogeneous faith, or a past contract with whoever gives them the power, like Celestia, is unknown. So the physical vision itself is able to be transferred to anyone in the home country, but power must be given specifically. Only when the person dies, then the power returns to the god. Otherwise, the physical object is still connected to the user. Using Ningguang as an example, Zhongli chose her and gave her the power first, and when she had the vision in their proximity, Zhongli chose that time and this vision to resonate with her. Now regarding the wild cards, Hu Tao, despite seeming like a wild chart and having a fading and an immediate interest and disinterest in whatever she sees, is still Pyro, and this may be due to her strong drive to achieve whatever goal she sets based on her vision story. Quote, be it filial, piety, or love, for Hu Tao this was her last chance to see her dear grandfather. After a failed search for a whole day, she could not find her grandfather and is only ridiculed by the surrounding spirits. As the rations and water ran short, a spirited old woman smiled and convinced a young, exhausted girl that her grandfather had already passed on without any lingering regrets or aspirations. Or her constant involvement with Chi-Chi when she believes Chi-Chi is suffering, and trying to release her, and then immediately changing goals to befriending her no matter how many times Chi-Chi rejects and had rejected her. There are even NPCs you can meet in the world that have mentioned they willingly abandoned their visions, though it's unknown if the color was lost. Of course, it's only been 2 areas out of supposedly 7 or even 8, and our journey is just beginning. Tell me what you think in the comments below if there's anything missing. Now go off and remember, adventure, discover, theorize.